Okay, let's get started. Yes, exactly. Awesome. Well, welcome to A2NewTech. I'm David Nesbitt, your host for this meetup, and glad to see all these faces, people that have joined. Thanks for the round of applause before we even get started. That's great. Since 2009, we've done 100 plus meetups for this group, 300 plus companies, and right now we're at over 6,700 members, which is pretty amazing. And so a strong tech community here in Ann Arbor, and this is one of the important hubs for that community. So glad you joined us this month. Last year we did 60 pitches from different companies, and so we do this every month on the second Tuesday of the month, so come back and join us third Tuesday of the month. So come back and join us next month in September. So I want to start off with a question just to kind of help us get a sense of who's in the room. Who's their first time at A2NewTech tonight? Raise your hand. Yeah, a lot of the group, about 50%, something like that. That's great. And who's been out before? Other half of the group, a lot of people here, maybe been out for a variety of times. Who's hiring here tonight for a position? Companies hiring? Great, see some hands up. And who's looking for a position? Okay, awesome. So hopefully some of those people can connect before the end of the evening. So why is this meetup important? Why is this important that we get together monthly and listen to these pitches and connect with each other? I've been in Ann Arbor 10 years this fall. I came here for school 10 years ago, and one of the things that I have learned in those 10 years is that there are really a lot of people coming up with ideas for technology and building companies here in Ann Arbor. And without hubs like this, it's impossible to know what's happening in the community, to kind of keep in touch with what are the new things that are going on, what are people working on. And so this meetup helps you do that. Connect with those people, hear the pitches of the ideas that are happening, maybe learn about a next opportunity for you, or just hear about people that you can also help with what they're working on. So this is an important space for us to kind of hear pitches, learn what's happening, and also connect with each other. And of course, eat some free pizza afterwards tonight at Dominic's. Courtesy of our sponsor, Ann Arbor Spark. So definitely join us for that time afterwards at Dominic's for some networking. It's a great time to meet some more people and talk about the pitches, things like that. Before our next meetup in September, we do have a Slack channel you can use to stay up to date with news, job opportunities, events, announcements. You can find information about that and join it at madein2.com/Slack. So I encourage you to do that, stay connected throughout the month with the members of this meetup. You'll see general announcements, open jobs, etc. there. And I encourage you, if you have an announcement or a job that your company's hiring for, post it on there, make sure it gets out to the community, that the most number of people that are here and involved in this meetup can hear about that. I also want to say thank you to some people that helped make this meetup possible. And so the Entrepreneurship Clinic at UMich Law School, Dana Thompson's the founding director of Michigan Law's Entrepreneurship Clinic. You can get help for your startup or your entrepreneurship endeavor with legal help. A2 Geeks is a nonprofit dedicated to making southeastern Michigan and Ann Arbor a great place for geeks and creatives to live, work, and play. Roger Rayle does our video every month, so thank you, Roger. Let's give him a round of applause. If you want to hire him for this kind of work or any other video work, look up R2 Vive. And we'll also post the link to this video as a comment. Roger will post it on this meetup event page. So you can go back and see it or send it to someone else who missed this meetup. We also have a variety of people that have helped to organize this meetup over the years. So Doug Song, Zach Steinler, Scott Gosey, David Bloom, David Corcoran, Brian Kelly, Brooke Boyle, and other people have helped to make this happen over the years. And so I want to thank you for those organizers. Some of them are here tonight, and appreciate all the work they've done to put this together. And then lastly, I mentioned Ann Arbor Spark. They are the sponsor for our pizza at the after event networking at Dominic's. Dominic's is right down the street this way, so definitely join us even for just a little bit. Ann Arbor Spark is committed to bringing together organizations and individuals to support the growth of companies and the creation of jobs. And so we appreciate all those people and the organizations that have helped to make this meetup happen every month. Like I said, we always meet on the third Tuesday of each month. Right now, we also have openings for our September pitches. So tonight we have 4 great companies from the Desai Accelerator who are going to be pitching. Next month, we have a few spots still open for pitches. And so if you want to pitch your idea or company, or if you know someone else who should, make sure they talk to us and email us at organizers@a2newtech.org. General criteria for what we look for in a company that will pitch is that they've done some customer validation, ideally, spoken with some prospective customers, and hopefully at least built a prototype. That's a great way, something you can show, get feedback on, and helps you really start to build out your idea. So tonight, our agenda, we're going to run until about 8 p.m., and then we'll transition over to Dominic's. We have 4 companies, each one doing a 5-minute pitch and a 5-minute Q&A afterwards. And so after those pitches are done, we'll also have a time for community announcements. You can come up and pitch your event, another meetup, looking for a partner, or for a project you're working on, or if you are looking for a job or hiring, you can announce that in the community announcements time. The other thing I'll mention about our pitches tonight is if you have a question during that question and answer, that would be great. Think about your questions, write them down during the pitches. Try to, first of all, raise your hand when you ask that question, and we'd love to have you stand up, say your name, and then give your question, and then definitely try to pose it in the form of a question. So that you can really give them something to respond to. It's really tempting to want to give feedback, or if you're excited about it, to second things that they're talking about or give them ideas. But definitely for this forum, try to pose it in the form of a question so they can really respond to you and engage. Before we start the pitches, the last thing I want to do is every month I do a music recommendation for something you should check out just for fun. I love sharing music, and so this is fun for me to do. So this month's music recommendation to check out is an Icelandic instrumental musician called Olafur Arnalds. Anyone an Olafur Arnalds fan? Wow, okay. Sweet, so a room full of people that actually can check this out. So like I said, Icelandic instrumental musician that makes extremely beautiful music, kind of one of my go-tos for relaxing or thinking. And so I highly recommend Olafur Arnalds' 2016 album Island Songs. It's a really neat story. He shot a video, a film adaptation of this, as well as recording these songs in 7 weeks in Iceland, where he visited 7 different locations, produced 7 songs with 7 different local artists in Iceland. So it's a really cool way to kind of experience some of that culture. There's an accompanying film which I have not watched, but it's probably cool considering how awesome the music is from that. And he also has a new album coming out Friday called Remember that sounds really great so far. There's been a few singles of those. So that's Olafur Arnalds. I'll spell that for you in case you want to write this down. Olafur, and his last name is Arnalds. So definitely check those out. Let me know what you think. We'd love to hear what you think of his music. Alrighty, with that, let's jump right into our pitches for tonight. So we have, again, 4 companies, and we're going to start with Movatic, and we have Ansgar Strosser, who is presenting first. Oh, actually first, Angela's going to give a presentation about Desai Accelerator and their program, and tell us a little bit more about it before we hear from their company.
Thank you, David. Okay, hi, I'm Angela Kujava. I'm Managing Director of the Desai Accelerator. You will see 4 of our companies pitch tonight, and I wanted to let you, the community, know what the Desai Accelerator is and more about our program. So we were started as a collaborative effort between the Zell Lurie Institute for Entrepreneurial Studies at the Ross Business School and the Center for Entrepreneurship at the College of Engineering. These 2 institutions wanted to collaborate and bring together their resources to help alumni to take the ventures that we were encouraging them to create and go further with them. In the genesis of the Desai Accelerator, however, they realized that this really should be open to everyone. So the Desai Accelerator is open for consideration for any early stage tech startup. We typically get anywhere from 60 to 100 applications and take 4 to 6 teams during a cohort. And what we really do, we see a lot of these early stage tech startups when they're very focused on product, right? And we want to take them to that next stage where they're building their business, where they're going to become externally fundable or VC backable. And so we do this in a number of different ways. First is through our programming. We have a rigorous 3 to 4 month curriculum where we focus on topics such as accounting, building your brand, marketing, sales, all those things that kind of are surrounding the technology, but not the technology itself. And then we have a number of different mentors who we match the teams with who spend all 16 weeks with them. And we try to have different types of mentors that they work with as well. So somebody like Eugene Lee, who is the head of business operations at Pinterest, right? He is West Coast, has his eyes on everything that's happening out there. And then Satish Medlik, who is in the room tonight over here, who has mentored with us all 5 cohorts of our Desai Accelerator. He himself is a founder of a number of different businesses and really digs in deep and sticks with the teams even after they're out of the accelerator. And then also people who are in the thick of it right now, like Christina York at Spellbound. She's probably a year or so ahead of where our teams are, and so she's going through the same things that they're going through and can really help them navigate the waters. We also provide money, so we give each team $25,000 investment upon entering the accelerator, and then they have the opportunity to pitch for an additional $25,000 in follow-on funding after the program is over. We provide office space in one of the most innovative spaces in downtown Ann Arbor. We co-work with Pillar Technology in the Forge. Dave Foreman, Managing Director of Pillar, is here right now. And what that allows us to do, co-working with a software development company, is when our teams need some extra technical assistance, when they have a problem that they just can't push through, we can go over to Pillar and say, hey, is there anybody who has a little bit of free time that can walk us through this? And they're always so generous with us. So it's really a great partnership that we have. Plus, when you have 360 views of the entire city, it's a little bit easier to work on your startup. This all culminates in what's called Demo Day. So Demo Day is a chance for teams to do a pitch like they're doing tonight to an auditorium full of investors and members of the entrepreneurial community. This is usually where those conversations start with investors and get the ball rolling so that they can get the capital necessary to move forward with their business. One of the most unique things, though, about our accelerator is our internship program that we run. We recruit, manage, hire, manage, and pay 10 interns from the University of Michigan. They're in the fields of business, design, and technology, and they perform about 85% of their workload for the companies that are in our cohort. So for 16 weeks, it's like getting free staff. Then we have our staff, right? So there's myself, I'm the managing director. Katie Lynn, who's in the room tonight, is our program manager. Katie herself is the founder of PinCause. She's worked as a consultant for small businesses, and she's also been part of various startups, including Duo Security. And then Michael Godwin, who is a venture capitalist with Resonant Venture Partners. Our portfolio is 20 companies that have gone through the program and 6 companies, 4 of whom you will see here tonight. I'll just go over a few of our success stories. Companion was part of our 2015 cohort. They were able to pitch on Apple's Planet of the Apps television show. It's like Apple's Shark Tank. And through being on that show, earned a $1 million investment. They are currently working in New York City, and I believe will be raising a Series A round early next year. Ash and Erie did appear on Shark Tank. They make clothing for shorter guys. And Mark Cuban now owns a significant percentage of their company, and they got a pretty large investment from him. My Swim Pro, who I think that you've seen pitch here at least a couple of times, they make a swimming app, swim training app. They were named Apple Watch's App of the Year in 2016. They successfully raised over $100,000 in a crowdfunding campaign, and just this week they announced a partnership with Strava. Shelly Sahi of Sahi Cosmetics. She makes cosmetics for women of medium skin tones. She was the NBC winner in 2017, and when Steve Case came to town last summer, many of you might remember the Rise of the Rest tour, Shelly was selected to pitch in that competition and won a $100,000 investment from AOL co-founder Steve Case's Revolution Fund. And then finally, Gwydion, who I know has pitched here a couple of times as well. They are an AR/VR company. And within 3 months of demo day, they were able to secure a $500,000 seed investment. So now that brings us to summer 2018 and the teams that you will see tonight. I'm so excited to have Jotful, Canopy, Movatic, and Arbor Automation pitch for you. 2 that you won't see, Me Padrino. She is currently out being successful right now, and Cheddar, who is a company that's here from New Jersey and is a cryptocurrency company. So if you have any questions about Me Padrino or Cheddar afterwards, I'm happy to answer them for you. But now I will turn it over to Ansgar to pitch for Movatic.
Awesome. Awesome, thanks Angela. So Movatic, this is Ansgar Strosser. Movatic is a software platform that makes mobility hardware shareable. So excited to hear from these companies. In a couple of days, actually, I pitched before, so we'll get to hear an update about where they're at since last time.
Cool. Hello everybody, I'm Ansgar Strosser, and I'm going to tell you about Movatic. So let's give you some context first. Even though we're in the backyard of the Motor City and it might seem like it, we're at a mobility tipping point right now. More people are moving into cities, and as Bill Ford said, you just can't keep pushing cars into downtowns. And as such, cities like Oslo in 2019 will be the first city to ban cars in their downtown. Another 12 are following after that. This has companies like Uber, Lyft, looking at not only being rideshare companies, but being mobility companies, getting into bike sharing, scooters, and other modes of transit. In addition to that, New York City now requires new apartment buildings to have bike parking. Based on this, I'm going to tell you a more specific story, the story of Santiago, Chile. So they have this 10-minute mandate. Their residents need to be within 10 minutes of a subway stop so that they can get around their community. The issue is, as you probably are guessing, building subway lines is very expensive. And while they're building more lines, there's no way that they can build enough of it to hit this mandate. Bike parking might be a solution to this. So, being able to ride your personal bike to the stops, that gets you a lot closer, gets you there a lot quicker. But there's an issue with that. And the issue is they don't want a mess. They don't want people stacking bikes on top of each other saying, where can I lock up my bike? They don't want the management headache of it, of dealing with abandoned bikes, issuing keys. Also, the manufacturers that they're buying racks from, they're hardware manufacturers. They're not in the business of building software. Don't worry, Movatic has a solution for that. Movatic's open software platform solves this for each one of those groups. We have a great user experience where people are able to easily use bike parking or bike sharing. Operators are able to automate their management, making their operations scalable, and we work with manufacturers to enable their products to be able to be used for these solutions. So let's dive a little deeper into the user app. The user app allows people to find, rent, and pay for bike sharing and bike parking across all of our different operators. So very much like an Uber-like experience. Powering all this, we have a series of tools for the operators to be able to set pricing, to manage users, to be able to perform maintenance. We also have an open API to allow people to further automate their operations. Those larger systems that have already launched and now scaled up, we also support SDK and white labeled apps that need to really have that in-app store presence. For OEMs, we have an integration layer where we're able to work with any type of hardware. And you can see here on the slide just a couple of the various forms of hardware we work with, from U-locks to ring locks to bike rooms and lockers. Any type of bike or bike share hardware that can get you around, Movatic can integrate and work with. So let's go back to Santiago, Chile. They're actually customers of ours, and they're launching a pilot with us. 128 smart racks that you can see here in the station, so that their riders will be able to ride up and securely lock up. With us, they're able to roll out the Movatic app, then scale out eventually their own branded app. No more handing out keys, abandoned bikes, and this is going to allow them to have the potential to scale and really have an impact on their community, as well as provide us a very interesting opportunity. Our model is pretty simple. Users pay operators for usage of the hardware. Operators buy hardware from manufacturers, and Movatic provides the software to make it all happen, either selling directly to the operator or through the manufacturer or the reseller, because the operators are already going to the manufacturer to buy the hardware. This is a $1.3 billion global market with a $315 US market. Our competition, we really differentiate ourselves from our competition because Movatic supports the most type of hardware. We are trying to become the standard for bike share and bike parking in the segments that we operate in. We also offer the most variety and options in terms of integration. So we'll work from the Movatic app to get you going quickly and easily to a very custom integration. We've had a lot of great traction with this model so far. $153,000 of first revenue in our first year, 115 1,500 units on the platform so far. What's going to be at the end of the year will be a 3x increase of our first year unit launches, and we're now working with 12 manufacturers. We have a great team that are very familiar in the space. Last startup, A2B Bike Share, where Adam and I met, made bike sharing hardware that was eventually acquired the technology behind by Motivate and Zaxter. So moving forward here, we're in Desai right now. The president of Santiago will be inaugurating that pilot in September, and then we'll be moving on to Rayle the seed round to hit our future milestones there. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Awesome, excellent pitch. So what kind of questions do we have for Ansgar?
Don't be shy.
Shoot up a hand.
We are talking about white labeling, and at the same time, it's also it's a market share for different providers. How are you planning to manage that?
So the backend and API service is the same for the Movatic app as long as the white labeled apps. The white labeling is important because larger systems really demand that presence in the store, while at the same time appreciate being aggregated together with other services to help drive traffic. That makes sense.
How did you get your first customer?
So one of the lucky things of having done a startup previously in the bike share space, knew a few people, and as we were going along, we really saw this pain point for this need for a software platform. We were a hardware company and having developed our own software. When we licensed the technology, we had several companies ask us saying, hey, do you guys have software? Or could you do software? And we're like, you know. So On Bike Share was our first customer, and they were one of the licensees of the A2B Bike Share technology.
What does a successful exit look like for your company? You're going to raise some venture capital a couple of years down the road. What does an exit look like?
Yeah, exit, so kind of mentioned in the forepart on how a couple large companies, Uber, Lyft, I'd also include Ford, BMW and GM in there, are really starting to transition their business models into mobility models, where it's not about selling you a car, it's about selling you services. So as people continue to build those service packages out, we'll have this nice, niche and differentiation to pull in. It's kind of a funny aside, the reason Google Maps was developed was because Google was losing people in the search process to MapQuest, which we all forget about. So I think as we move forward, it's pretty analogous, where you're going to have to own the entire process so you don't lose someone into another platform. If that makes sense, it's kind of an analogy.
So one of those larger non-manufacturer, non-bike share providers being acquired by them? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome, other questions? Right
What's
here.
your product?
The product is a software.
All right.
So Movatic app, backend management tools, API SDK, and then integration layer.
And then in your presentation, you mentioned a couple of times Uber-like. So do you have some sort of IP attorney helping you with that yet? I mean, when you say Uber-like and you are actually using a software, how safe and free are you?
I mean, Uber-like, I'm just trying to express the experience we've all had of pulling out the phone, click, it works. And we get to where we need to go. There's no mailing in a check to get a key back in the mail, and then some of the stuff that you currently have to do to rent a bike locker or bike room.
Any barriers to adoption in the marketplace at all? Anything civil?
You're
civil
saying
level?
for us
Yeah.
moving forward? Nothing that we've seen so far. Biggest kind of barrier is just a little bit new. So you have to get people comfortable with kind of literally turning the keys over to us. But we've not found that to be an issue, and that's one of the reasons why we've worked very close with manufacturing partners, because they've been selling to some of these clients for 30, 40 years and have that trust.
Asper, you pointed out that in that matrix how you're differentiated vis-a-vis your competition. What barriers to entry exist, if any, that prevent them from replicating what you're doing?
Yeah, so opening up an API and SDK, obviously there's no barriers there. The real differentiation we see is getting to that we support all types of hardware quickly as possible, so we become that kind of crossing the chasm standard type thing for the, later adopters.
All right, time for about one more question.
So I recently heard news where one of the bike sharing company just pulled out of the US market, which is like OFO or something.
Yep.
So what do you think, like, what's your potential, the growth in the US market?
Yeah, so we have a lot of systems in the US. If you look at the market slide, explicitly, bike share does not include municipal bike share. We're not going after what OFO is doing or dockless at all. So very different. Our bike share operations is really corporate campuses and kind of dovetails into apartment buildings where if you're storing bikes, you should also have a couple bikes available to people who don't have a personal bike to be available. So, yeah, and there's a far deeper answer why they pulled out, but
I see. Okay.
we're out of time.
Awesome, thanks Ansgar. Our next presenter is Don Verbrigge from Jotful. Jotful is a tech-enabled service that creates and maintains professional, affordable, and hassle-free websites for small businesses. A fun fact about Jotful is that 2 members of their team are professional musicians. The other team member is Dawn, who instead just asked Alexa to play Michael Jackson, she said.
Thanks. Good evening. I'd like to ask you to take a moment and put yourself into what I suspect are some pretty unfamiliar shoes. Imagine you own a barber shop. Think more beauty school than business school. You spend your days trimming beards and doing the books. You started this business because you dreamed of someday having the freedom and flexibility to do whatever it is you wanted to do, whether that was cutting more hair or coaching your kids' soccer team. But to get there, you really need to grow your customer base. You need better marketing. And the cornerstone of your marketing is your website. But your website was built 3 years ago, and it looks like it. It does not work on mobile, and you have absolutely no idea how to update it. In fact, the mere thought of making changes to your website makes you want to pull your hair out. Because, let's face it, you're a small business owner. You're not a web developer or a graphic designer or a digital marketer. But you're also not alone. Here in the US, there are 4.6 million businesses with fewer than 10 employees, and today half of them do not have a website. And many of the rest have a website they can't update and that doesn't work on mobile. Before Jotful, these small business owners really only had 2 options. They could hire a designer or an agency to build a website for them, but this cost thousands of dollars. It was simply unaffordable. And what's more, when they got the website back, they had no way to maintain it. Alternatively, they could try to build a website themselves using do-it-yourself software offered by a company like Wix or Squarespace. But even if they could find the time to actually build their own website, the moment they logged in and were presented with that blank screen, they realized that despite all the hype, the truth is you really need design and marketing skills in order to build a professional business website yourself. And so these small business owners have been left behind until now. Introducing Jotful. At Jotful, we are providing a whole new way for small businesses to make and maintain their website. We deliver a complete, professionally designed website with all the marketing best practices built right in. So you don't have to learn how to build your own website. And you don't have to decide where that call to action button should go. In fact, you don't even have to know what a call to action button is. And what's more, when you want to make an update to your website, we make it as simple as editing a Word doc. And if it's a bigger change, like adding a new page, you just send us an email and we take care of it. And we do all this for just $39 a month. We're able to do this so affordably because using our own proprietary software, we build websites in less than 4 hours. And what's more, once that website is launched, 95% of the changes our customers need, they simply make themselves. We are truly providing the hassle-free, effective, and affordable solution this market needs and values. And that's why just 2 months after launching our sales program, we already have 20 customers using Jotful. And in fact, every single prospect that has seen our demo has gone on to become a customer. We are a complete team of experienced entrepreneurs with complementary skill set. I started my career as a graphic designer before becoming the head of marketing at 4 venture-backed SaaS businesses, ultimately serving as COO before launching Jotful. Jordan, our lead engineer, has that unique ability to truly look past his own deep technical expertise to understand the needs of this market. And Natalie, who's responsible for customer acquisition and success, was named by Crain's Detroit to their 40 under 40 list for founding Detroit Passport to the Arts. Her extensive nonprofit fundraising experience has taught her how to sell and develop relationships. But let me leave you with this. I mentioned Wix earlier. They're the largest of the do-it-yourself software companies. They went public in 8 years. They now have 3.5 million customers, and they're worth $4 billion. Squarespace has another 2 million. And yet these two companies combined have captured a mere 3% of the total website market. This is a massive opportunity. And this team is already delivering a service our customers love. Imagine where we can go from here. This is the ask. We're always looking, we're looking now for investors for our seed round coming up. We're looking to hire a graphic designer as soon as that seed round comes through. And we are always looking for more customers. Thank you.
Awesome. Questions for Dawn?
Yeah.
You mentioned that your price is $39 for each website.
Our price starts at $39 a month.
And this includes creating content and the website as well.
We do not create content, so we do not provide photography and we do not write text. We take content from the customers and put it into the website.
Because the biggest challenge for any website is actually the content, is not the system.
Yeah, well, what we find is that most of our customers either already have a website that isn't performing for them, and so we take that content and use it to build a new website. Or if they don't currently have a website, they usually have some piece of marketing collateral that we can use, typically a brochure or a PDF or something like this.
And how are you planning to have, right now we have 3 employees only. So what happens, how you're planning to scale it up? Like if you have, for instance, 1,000 customers.
Yep. So the place where we need to scale the most is obviously in onboarding, right? Because it takes us 4 hours to onboard each customer. So we're developing a plan where we can hire the team that we need to do that.
All right, other questions?
Yeah.
How does it, have you compared what you're offering to a service like Shopify? And how do they compare?
Yes. So Shopify is primarily an e-commerce platform, right? Jotful very specifically does not provide, we are not an e-commerce platform. And the reason why is twofold. Number one, our customers are really local service-based businesses, so they're not selling products outside of their local market, so they're typically not interested in e-commerce beyond basic things like we wrote a book and we'd like to make it available, which we can do through, say, a PayPal Buy Now button, or every once in a while we host an event and we want to be able to sell tickets to that event. The second reason why is because an e-commerce platform requires constant updating of photography, of inventory levels, of product descriptions, and so forth. And since we co-maintain the website with the customer, that's obviously not something we want to do. Yeah, right.
What is something you've learned works and doesn't work with respect to customer acquisition?
Oh, interesting question. So one thing that works well is demonstrating some domain expertise. So one of the things we're trying to do is identify the industries where we want to go deep, because the minute we can show other examples of customers that we have in that particular industry, it helps us close that customer much more easily. So that's something that works. Something that doesn't work.
You like how I squeeze that second one in?
Yeah. Two questions. We are just starting the process of transitioning from having face-to-face contact with our leads coming in to, we are just now getting those first sort of cold stranger leads, right? And so that's something that we're really working on, because we're not coming in with instant credibility, right? So we're kind of building that. But we still have 100% close rate from demo to customer.
I have a question, kind of a follow-up for that. So what is your, as you do less face-to-face and more scalable, how do you plan to do customer acquisition over time?
Yep. So we have a near-term plan and then a long-term plan for that. So in the near term, what we're doing is we're striking referral agreements with companies that also serve the small business market. So an example of a company that we're signing tomorrow, actually, they provide promotional items, which, swag. And from the small business's perspective, that swag vendor is where they spend the majority of their marketing dollars. And so that company was getting questions about, can you also do our website? And they decided, no, we don't want to do that. And when they learned about us, they realized it was a good relationship. So they think that they can send about 200 leads over the next 24 months, right? So that's a way for us to kind of scale up a bit in the near term. In the longer term, we're really looking at inbound marketing as a longer term solution.
Last question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that one of the previous or current solutions that customers will use is to hire like a kind of medium-sized agency to build their website. My understanding is that those agencies will sometimes build your website and build it in Wix or build it in WordPress so that you can edit it and add content. So my question is, what makes you different than a medium-sized agency that could offer some of those things?
Yeah, we are definitely not an agency model, right? We are SaaS, right? An agency typically makes content too. We don't make content.
Okay.
But the real part of your question is around maintaining. So for our customers, getting a WordPress back-end administrative tool to update is just never going to happen. They're never going to learn how to use that software. They are completely intimidated by it. And that's true of WordPress, that's true of Wix. This week we landed 2 customers coming over from Squarespace because an agency designed the website, handed it over to them, and they had no way to update it. They're working with us now, right? So that's the big difference. You saw with our product, it's inline editing. So they're never taken to a back end that abstracts what their website looks like. They're just taken to their website, but all of the text can be edited, and all of the images can be cropped or replaced exactly like you would change your profile photo on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, our next company who's presenting is Alexander Mills from Arbor Automation. Arbor Automation is an automated software service that improves manufacturing prototype hardware. As he's getting set up, a fun fact about Alexander here, he told me he once bought a 4-ton crane on the internet with next day air shipping. I hope you had Amazon Prime for that.
That's a car, if any of you guys are familiar with it. I was not expecting that next day.
All right. I'm plugging it in.
There we go. So thank you, Dave, for that introduction. I'd like to talk to you all today about manufacturing. And I'd like to start that with everyone in the audience thinking about some of the core products that they rely on every day. Now, all these different items may vary in complexity and sophistication, but they all start at prototyping stage. They all start in a hardware prototype at some point or another. And the US currently employs 500,000 manufacturing engineers and machinists to support this development of these prototypes across thousands of specialized job shops. This is Jeff. Jeff owns a small business, a job shop right here in Ann Arbor. And he is one of those thousands of machinists here in the US that support this work. And Jeff and his staff make parts all day long. they're suffering a very large problem. You see, they are not pressed for demand. Demand for manufacturing and prototype manufacturing is high and is continuously increasing and will continue to increase for decades. But they're suffering a huge bottleneck that's leading to tons and tons of back orders and lost revenue. And this bottleneck is the manual processing that they need to get to transform design specifications from their customers into production-ready formats that they can actually machine and accrue revenue on. So this is split up into a couple different segments. First, they get a request for a quote from one of their customers, and they have to estimate, without actual precise data, how long that's actually going to take to run their shop. And frequently, these numbers are far off, and they just have to live with them, losing revenue or losing orders if they price too high. Then only once they get that contract, they have to invest time coming up with a new innovative manufacturing strategy for that new complex, unique component that they were tasked to make. And then they have to design intermediate holding fixtures to secure that new part in the machine tools in their shop floor while they're making it. And these are parts in and of themselves that they have to go through this whole process again. Then they have to go through and actually reprogram all of the machine tools in their shop floor to support that production, investing hours in that. And then, as the last step, they have to document this whole process so they can hand it over to one of the machinists on their shop floor to actually enter production. And altogether, this process can easily take 20 hours per job, and they have to redo it for every new part coming into their shop. Now, this isn't a new problem. For decades, there's been conventional software that speeds up this process, but it's focused exclusively on the part programming and excludes all the other difficult aspects of processing these parts for manufacturing. And so we took a better look at this and realized that the solution is automating this workflow. Our customers, these job shops, don't actually care about how they process these jobs. They just care that they're running the machine tools, that they're working with their customers to improve designs, and they can actually enter production. So that's why we developed Pathfinder, our cloud-based automated part programming software, part processing software. It enables our customers to go from their first initial contact with their customers, a request for a quote, all the way to actual production in as little as 5 minutes. All those discrete steps I shared with you earlier, we handle all of that, from fixture generation to path planning to process breakdown to documentation, which no other competitor on the market offers. And we support this with an on-demand pricing model. Our customers start by giving us a CAD file, the design file that they get from their customers. They load that into our software and hand it off for automated processing by us. We compile this all the way down to the actual machine code that they would run on their shop floor and simulate that on a virtual machine tool. We use this to provide detailed, precise metrics on the performance of that cycle so they can efficiently quote their customers. And we offer this free of charge because we're convinced they will land that contract and come back to us. Once they do, they can come back and download all of the data that they need to enter that production. And we charge them based on the complexity of that part. So it's affordable and extensible. We're currently prototyping our software and are leading into a number of select pilots later this October. Next year, we're planning on a public launch. This started out as a personal frustration of mine. As a systems engineer and mechatronics engineer, I frequently found myself developing my own components for work and spending 5 minutes making a tiny change to our CAD model and then an entire week in the machine shop trying to actually implement that design change. I started developing my own software to speed up this process and eventually commercialize it, and that's what Pathfinder became. I'm joined by my colleague Nils, been working with for many years. He is a fourth-year PhD student in mechanical engineering at the University of Michigan, where he focuses on robotics and automation and gate analysis with walking robotics. A lot of the core of his research falls on into our backend. I'm also joined with Ryan, our senior advisor and entrepreneur in residence, who comes from 16 years of investment banking, where he financed and sold plastics injection molding companies. So he knows our customer base more than anyone else I've encountered from a technical and business standpoint. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And also, we are hiring, and we'll be fundraising later this year and next year.
Let's do questions now, and if you can actually stand and give your name when you ask your question, it'd be great too.
Manufacturing has its own complexities, meaning stamping, casting,
Yep.
forging, and whatnot. How's your software addressing those manufacturing processes?
So we're focusing exclusively on CNC, subtractive manufacturing. So we're not touching 3D printing or additive. We're not touching molding or stamping. We're exclusively working on subtractive manufacturing. However, the core of a lot of those other practices rely on subtractive manufacturing as a starting point. So for instance, injection molding, our software can be used to make the molds for that process.
So perhaps it's a software for prototypes.
Okay.
The primary focus is injection molding.
Not necessarily injection molding. So gusset plates for airplanes, for instance, the back of your iPhone was likely CNC machined. A lot of these, we support secondary manufacturing, but also just primary manufacturing.
Thank you.
Welcome. No? Oh.
Hi, I'm Nesbitt. Just a question about the tool itself, because you mentioned that it actually integrates with CAD.
Yep.
It's a cloud-based application. So are you targeting a specific company to do that, like SolidWorks or something like that? Are you going to reuse some of the metadata to create this? Or is it just something like you set a file online and then you distribute to manufacturers?
Yeah, so typically, let's say you're Boeing and you want to contract out a job shop to make a part, you would send the native CAD file to these job shops with some additional information. That job shop will forward that CAD file and all the data contained in that CAD file and some of the additional information to us for processing. But we're CAD file agnostic, so we can work with anything that's parametric based, so SolidWorks files, Autodesk files, open source step files, anything that you can solve a model in parametric format, we can handle.
Can I ask why you excluded additive manufacturing?
Additive was actually the inspiration for this. My background is in CNC machining, and that's still going to be really key in this industry for many decades. And I took the experiences I had with how easy it was to run a new part on a 3D printer, but how long it took, how low tolerance the parts could be, and took that same user interface, essentially, user experience, and brought that to subtractive manufacturing.
I'm Sudhir. I'm interested to know what your tool can offer besides the code. Like you said, within 5 minutes it would offer performance metrics. So is it converting CAD file into CNC code in those 5 minutes and churning out some numbers?
Yes, great question, thank you. So when the customer uploads the CAD file, it hands off for automated processing. We use feature extraction to identify all the machinable features on that part that they've uploaded, and then we come up with an actual manufacturing strategy. So starting with a raw block of aluminum or steel, how are we going to physically lock this into the machine tool? It's called fixturing. How are we going to hold that in place? What are we going to cut off in that operation? And then how are we going to refixture the machine and iteratively go through this until we go from the original block of aluminum to the final component. So we go through that, we build that entire process, and then for each of those different machining operations, we compile that down to the code that they will actually run on their machine tool. That's what we simulate in our virtual machine tools, both internally and through third-party software, to come up with precise metrics on it'll take this long to cut these features. You have to then, based on your shop profile, it'll take you roughly this long to swap the part out or refixture it, and then it'll take you X amount of minutes to cut these other pieces of geometry on that. All the metrics that they need to put together a very, very precise, well thought out code.
Yes. And how big of a market opportunity do you think this is?
The size of this market is actually strikingly hard. Some of the best descriptive numbers we can come up with is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the number of machinists and manufacturing engineers supporting this, which is roughly 500,000 right now. And that's continuing to grow. One of the problems we've come into is a lot of these manufacturers, a lot of these job shops, don't actually advertise their services because they're so backordered, they don't need inbound marketing. So they work with their repeating customers and don't actually advertise a lot. The way we're tackling that is working with channel partners like the tooling providers that are weekly restocking these shops, and also working with the machine tool manufacturers and their distributors to get in contact with them.
Awesome. Thanks, Alexander.
Thank you.
And our last pitch of the evening is Elizabeth Michelle from Canopy. Canopy is a web application that helps families and individuals talk about and make end-of-life healthcare decisions and share those decisions with others through an advanced care directive. An interesting note about Elizabeth and her team, Ann and Brandon from her team are high school friends, both growing up in West Michigan. And then Ann and Elizabeth actually met in summer 2016 in Rwanda when they were both working for the same organization. The three of them all eventually reconnected on campus at U of M, with Ann playing matchmaker and bringing them all together. So that formed their super team at Canopy.
Come on. Canopy bitch, how's it?
We're gonna get this ironed out. It's gonna be great. In the meantime, just enjoy.
Oh, beautiful scenery. Fall, winter. There you go.
Oop. Go full screen on this. There we go.
Make it big.
There you go.
Thanks, Alexander. A little over a year ago, a woman named Andrea sat in an emergency room struggling to make decisions on behalf of her uncle Frank. Frank was unconscious and therefore unable to speak for himself. His journey had actually begun 6 months prior when he was diagnosed with throat cancer. Before that night, he'd undergone surgery, received treatment for an infection, and spent time at a skilled nursing facility. Despite the different touch points in the health system, Frank's doctors never told him how to talk to Andrea about what to do if he couldn't speak for himself. So where did that leave Andrea? That night, the doctors turned to her and asked if they could put in what's called a central line. Andrea sat there with her uncle's do not resuscitate paperwork in her hand, the doctor's question on her mind, and she said, "I don't know. I'm not sure what he would want." That night, Andrea had to answer the question, but it very well could have been anyone in this room. So my question to you is, if this were your loved one, would you know what to do? In the US, 63% of adults don't have an advanced care plan in place, meaning they haven't identified or documented their end-of-life healthcare wishes. This is significant because for 40% of patients in the hospital, medical proxies like Andrea are the ones making decisions on their behalf. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm a co-founder of Canopy. Canopy is a health technology company dedicated to helping people from all walks of life navigate their journeys through healthcare. Our core product is a web application that helps people talk about and make end-of-life healthcare decisions. And we do this through 3 key ways. The first is providing education, helping people learn what advanced care planning is and why it's important. The second is coaching and guidance. We provide an audio coach that guides patients through identifying their end-of-life healthcare wishes and clarifying those wishes, documenting them by creating an advanced care directive, which is the legal document that contains their wishes. And the last thing we do is allow individuals to share that documentation digitally with their loved ones and their medical providers, ensuring that the right people have the answers they need when they need them. End-of-life conversations are becoming increasingly important as more people enter the retirement age. As this aging population grows, so does a market opportunity for a product like ours. Over the next 5 years, this will amount to about $4.8 billion. Canopy is reaching this population by selling directly to health systems. Health systems see a significant number of patients who have risk factors that require advanced care planning. So we provide an enterprise solution to hospitals who then share our consumer-facing product to their patients. Over the past or actually, I should say instead, Canopy is not alone in this space, but health systems are still searching for solutions. We're positioned to excel for two key important reasons. The first is that we pull on health behavior principles, and the second, that we provide digital coaching. This allows individuals to have a complete experience that brings them through education, through the actual steps of completing their documentation and sharing, which is a key differentiator from other competitors in our space. Over the past year, we have raised a significant amount of funding that is helping us move forward towards launching our product later this fall. Canopy has an incredible team working behind the vision to make this product a reality. Our key expertise lies in health behavior and policy, web development, and data analytics, as well as design. The work we do begins with our team. Canopy is focused on putting humanity first. We're guiding people towards achieving something that probably all of us in this room want: respect and dignity across the lifespan, but particularly in the most vulnerable moments. With Canopy, people like Frank, Andrea, and the care teams who work with them will have everything they need today to better manage the difficulties of tomorrow. So our ask is for you to join us in making this product available. What we are asking of you is for connections to accountable care organizations, hospice, as well as nursing homes, as we're building connections and working to build connections in the space. If you have those connections, we'd love to talk to you and make connections. I said that 3 times. But thank you so much, and I look forward to your questions.
Awesome. What kind of questions do we have for Elizabeth?
I'm Derek. I assume you're raising money for this, or also have you thought of like those SBIR grants, the combined grants from like the National Institute of Health and supporting businesses and technologies?
Yes, we will definitely be raising money. The short answer to your question is yes. The details of SBIR grants and NIH grants haven't delved into a lot, but they're definitely on our mind as sources of funding.
Okay. Can you go back to the monetization slide? No.
Oh, sorry.
This one, yes. So it looks like you have 2 customers, right? There's the health system and then the patient themselves. How do you propose kind of testing your product on both of those groups?
Yeah. So I would say the first is we have our customers and we have the people using our product. So the health system is our buyer, and we're charging them an annual fee as well as a price per user, and they're passing that tool to their patient. As we're testing this product, we're actually going to both elements. So we'll be launching marketing opportunities directly to users, so we're understanding who's using our product, when are they using it, how are they finding us, and at the same time, we're building relationships with health systems so that we can pilot within their systems and see how it works within a system, how the systems are giving our tool to their patients. So we're working on getting to both the users and the patients and their families, as well as the health systems who would pass them on to the users. Answer your question? And the back and then the front.
Yeah. Oh, great. So I was wondering, a patient goes out of the accountable care organization cohort. What happens there? How is that negotiated with their plan?
So right now, I want to make sure I understand your question appropriately. You're saying for a patient who's in an ACO, how are they going to get access?
Yeah, if they're participating health system in that ACO, is that's one thing that they have that contractual relationship. What if they go outside of that ACO, and they no longer have that contractual relationship with
Yeah. So patients, as individuals use Canopy, they will have continual access to their profile. So our database is gathering that patient's profile, which the patient, their loved one, anyone they want to send it to can access at any point. The health system also gets it. So if that person were to no longer be covered by a particular ACO or a particular health system, they can still on their own update and use the product.
So a question and also a comment. One is, at any point in this whole process, are you getting physician input, physician opinion?
Yes.
And how do you factor in physician opinion?
Yes, so the way that a patient might get access to Canopy is a provider will say, hey, so-and-so, let's take a person who's aging, 65 years old. They're coming in for their annual wellness visit. The patient might say, hey, Frank, we think that you should do this tool. We really need to talk about advanced care planning. Take this tool, take it home, complete it, let me know if you have any questions. That patient takes the tool, they're able to access the tool home. They get a link that gives them access to Canopy. They've set up their account. At any point through the process, they're completing the different sessions we have for them. The provider themselves can see the progression of the patient through the process. So the provider on their end can pull up a dashboard that shows them where the patient is. The patient can also, the provider can initiate conversation on a particular session. The patient themselves can also say, hey, provider so-and-so, I did this, but I have a question. So we want the provider to also see where the patient is in the process so they're not by themselves.
So just for clarity, your goal is to gather more people maybe in their 60s to make those decisions and put together at the end of life what their directives are for end of life versus the person that's 90 and in the hospital might not have that in place and the family has to make the decision?
Right, and not just aging, but essentially we want individuals to have the conversation earlier so that when they are in a space when they can't speak for themselves, that information is ready and available.
Okay, my quick comment on it is, first of all, it's a huge market, but there's a couple things that I wanted to add to it, because my husband's an anesthesiologist, my sister is an anesthesiologist. And they both trained at Stanford, and then my sister went to New Zealand and practiced medicine down there, and they see all of the end-of-life surgeries, and we're spending about 20% of all healthcare dollars in this country right now, and that's before the baby boomers get older, on the final few months of care. And what I mean by that is, we're putting in new hips, we're putting in heart stents, we're putting in new joints, all in the last few months of life. And physicians know, generally speaking, physicians know when the patient has reached a point where they're now walking out of the hospital. This next procedure means they'll never get out of the hospital bed and walk out of this hospital again. Now, what I mentioned New Zealand is because she went down to New Zealand, and in New Zealand they say, we're at a point where there's nothing else we can do for your family member. Please take them home. 9 out of 10 Americans say they want to die at home, and it's not happening. In New Zealand, they tell you it's time to take your relative home. This is the end. She came back. My sister did intensivist here in the ICU at Stanford, and said it's almost unethical what we're doing because we as physicians know they're never going to walk out of here again, and yet the families want to do the best they can for them, and so sure. We'll just do everything we think we possibly can to help them. But there's a difference between they were in a car crash and they're non-responsive, and they're still functioning, they're awake, they're alert. Should we put in a heart stent when they're 95? But it's a tremendous cost to the healthcare system in this country. So, it's a huge, huge market you're going after, and it's a tremendous need. It absolutely is.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Awesome. That's all the time we got. Well, those are some great pitches. So kudos to the Desai companies and the Accelerator program. So thanks for pitching. And now we have time for community announcements. So if you have a meetup or a position you're hiring for, or you're looking for a collaborator for a project, you're looking for a new position, come on down, make a line right here on the side in front of the whiteboard. And then you can, as soon as the first person's up here, come on up and make your 1 to 2 minute pitch. And you can also comment these on the meetup event so that people who are not here can still see some of those announcements. So whoever's first, come on right up and you can stand right here and make your announcement.
Thanks, David. Hi, I'm David Dodds. I'm a preschool teacher by day, software entrepreneur by afternoon. Is it okay if I like? Yeah. Okay. Right now, I'm in the ideation phase of business-to-business SaaS for ed tech startups. I'm thinking of niching in on ed tech, but broadly tech startups and e-commerce founders. And what I'm doing is I'm researching some of the problems and pain points that ed tech companies, ed tech founders, e-commerce founders are having and taking their company to the next level. And what I'd like to do is just get anybody's perspective. The research I'm doing is to figure out what some of the pain points are, right? And I will be designing the business-to-business software based on the research. If you are willing to share your perspective in growing your company with me, here's my name, here's my email. I don't. I should.
But you can email in there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Gosey. I got 4 quick announcements, so I'm going to go fast. One, if you saw the startups today and realized that you want to learn programming yourself so you can build your own startup, a great place to go is Ann Arbor Coffee House Coders. It's a meetup event. You can find us on meetup.com. I'll put that in the description. If you're too lazy to program yourself and want to have a startup built for you, there's a consultancy in town here called Alpha Django. They build some great startups that have gotten acquired, raised money, a whole bunch of things. Reach out to them. Again, comments in the meetup description, blah, blah, blah. If you're looking for co-working space, now you're back to building your own startup again. Up at the Tech Brewery, we have a ton of desks, not quite available, but soon to be available for burgeoning startups, so come check us out there. And finally, if you're looking for startup jobs, Ann Arbor Spark has a great job board powered by the startup that me and my co-founder founded, True Jobs, so check out the Ann Arbor Spark job board if you're looking for jobs too as well. Thanks, and have a good day.
I'm Sarah Richmond. I'm Director of Marketing at Above the Tree Line, which is not a startup. We've been around in downtown Ann Arbor for 15 years, but we are growing really fast now. We've taken on an investment in the past couple of years, and so we're growing our team. We're actually a B2B tech platform where all of the publishers post their catalogs for bookstores, libraries, and over 100,000 book professionals to access. And we also have some really cool data analytics tools. So if that gets you excited, we are looking for an awesome software engineer and also data support specialist. You can find more information on True Jobs or on AboveTheTreeLine.com.
Hi everyone, my name is Dave Foreman. I'm with Pillar Technology. We are on the Forge at the corner of 5th and Liberty, and we are co-located with all the startups you saw today. We were recently acquired by Accenture, so we're now part of the Industry X practice, which is focused on software and product development in smart embedded, mobility, really all the fun places that as Pillar we were breaking into and now we're getting into much more quickly. We are looking for developers who want to work on teams that are committed to pairing, test driving, user-centered design. We have grown from about 30 people in Ann Arbor 3 years ago to about 110 now, and I expect we'll double over the next 18 months. So come talk to us if that's the place you want to be.
Hey everyone, my name is Ife, and I'm the founder and developer of an iOS app called See You. So basically, See You is a magic app where you can create or join any fun activity in less than 20 seconds and meet people or make friends in less than 1 hour. So actually, in fact, with See You, you can do anything with anybody or meet anybody at any time in any places. So our goal is to become #1 social media for offline interactions for anybody. So here we spent 2 months finish our beta testing, and now we're about to launch on App Store in less than 1 week. So our target is the college students. So if you are either a college student here, or you know how to reach this group, or you're a marketing expert in this area, please come talk to me. Also, if you haven't tried my app yet, so come talk to me and I'll send you a link and you can try it out. All right, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine Fitzpatrick and my announcement is non-tech related, but I feel like there are dog lovers in this room. So I wanted to let you guys know about the American Cancer Society's Bark for Life of Greater Ann Arbor. That's coming up on Saturday at the farm at St. Joe's, which is right on the St. Joe's Hospital campus. It is a 5K or 1 mile fun run or walk with your dog or without your dog if you don't have one and just want to come play with dogs for the morning. And then after the run, there's lure chasing, agility. We have a station where you can get your dog's paw print and clay as a keepsake. There's musical sit, all kinds of fun contests. It's just a super fun event. So if you are interested, I've got flyers with me and I'm happy to talk to you more about that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Allison Todak, the Managing Director of Cahoots. It's a co-working space we're working on opening up and a technology hub. Anyway, I'm here to announce that we're bringing a really cool free community event. I know I've already put it in the A2 Made in A2 Slack, but I want to share it here with all of you. We're bringing Ken Siegel, formerly of Apple and a creative director of marketing, and a lot of cool things he's done, including creating the Think Different campaign and starting the I naming with iMac. Back in the day working with Steve Jobs, we're bringing him here to Ann Arbor for free with a bunch of other tech companies here, Ann Arbor Spark, and it's going to be in the Michigan Theater on September 12th at 2 o'clock, right before Desai's demo day. So it should be a really fun afternoon of tech events. Come to Ken Siegel's free awesome talk and then hang out and watch their teams.
How do we register?
I'm going to put up the Eventbrite. I will also have a ton of business cards so I can shoot it to you. I'll put it in the group meetup page as well.
Hello, my name is Diane, and my ask for you today is I would like you to replace me. Half of the people in the room have known me or seen me at one of these events in the past. I've been running Ann Arbor Health Hacks with a team of people who have in the last year left town, and so we're looking for new leadership. So if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, leadership opportunities, the possibility and opportunity to change a pre-existing volunteer-run awesome nonprofit here in town running healthcare hackathons, I would love to talk to you about that. It's been fun. I'm happy to stay on and help, but I'm a one-woman army and that just doesn't jive. Our most recent hackathon was June 22nd, and we've been doing it for 3 years and love it. You should talk to me about it. Diane, Ann Arbor Health Hacks, A2healthhacks.org.
Hi, I'm John Winville from Alpha Django. Thank you, Scott, for all the pre-stuff. We do build startups and we're growing. So we are looking for Ruby on Rails programmer or more, one or two. And that's my ask today. But in addition to that, we're celebrating 10 years of being in operation. And Thursday, if you want to come at 6 p.m. to the Tech Brewery, we are having an open house. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Brad Baum with Tostar Ann Arbor. We're an early stage incubator and venture firm located just on North Campus across from M-City. We're going to be doing a FinTech meetup tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We'll have 3 different speakers, a U of M professor, head of product at Securency, and then a local lawyer who's involved with SEC and other FinTech matters. So if you guys are interested, I'll leave some cards over here and let me know. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sudhir Kumar. I'm a recent MBA from Ross School of Business. Although I work full-time at Ford, I freelance part-time as a management consultant. So if you are a small business owner and needs help in drafting business plan, marketing plan, accounting, financial analysis, or any other related business work, please reach out to me. I will write down my email ID and I will be available during the networking hour later on as well. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Nehemiah and I'm a graphic designer here in Ann Arbor. So I work mostly with small business owners and I do both digital and print design. So I just wanted to let you know, if you are looking for a designer, I'd love to chat with you. Okay, thanks.
Hi, I'm Tira Hightower, and My background's varied because I'm married to someone in medicine. I've lived all over the country, but I worked in venture capital in Silicon Valley when we were out there. My husband's at Stanford. And I just finished graduate school at LTU, and I am starting a company. My background's in design, and I'm design and operations, and I'm really looking for a technical co-founder. So if anyone in here is interested, I'm going to go to pizza, and I'd love to talk with you.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian Kelly, your old host here. A couple announcements I wanted to make. One, you might remember last year I talked about Blue Water Startup School. Last year was in Port Huron. This year it's going to be in Marine City. It's just a friend of mine who is another great Michigan entrepreneur. And on Saturday, September 29th, it's an all-day event. It's a very hands-on, go hear stories from fellow entrepreneurs, but also get a lot of kind of peer support and help. So picture an event like this, but more interactive, and you spend a whole day. So if you're interested in spending a Saturday, check out startupschool2018.com. That's going to be on September 29th. Other announcement is I'm a co-founder and CEO at a local Ann Arbor startup called Census. We spun out of the University of Michigan last year. Our mission is to improve security through internet perspective. And we do that by scanning every server on the internet every day. And we help organizations understand what their surface area looks like from the outside in. If that problem set is interesting to you, lots of data with a information security focus, we are hiring engineering positions right now. So you can go to census.io/careers to hear more about that. And my co-founder, David, is also in the audience. So if you're around, you want to chat about the types of problems we're working on, very large sets of data, and using the Google Cloud platform primarily to process it, find David. Thanks.
Excellent. I also have my own community announcement as we wrap up. Right now I'm looking for my next opportunity. So I have a background in customer success and marketing and sales for Ann Arbor startups. And so I'm looking to leverage those experiences in a customer success role or product marketing. So you can also come talk to me afterwards if you're interested in that. So that wraps up our community announcements. And so thanks everybody for the great announcements, the great questions and engagement. This was awesome and a super full room, which is great. As we conclude, next month we're going to be back in this room on September 18th, Tuesday. And so put it in your calendar, don't miss it. Bring someone who hasn't been before to check it out for the first time. Like I said, we do have room for pitches, and so please do email us and let us know if you have a pitch that you'd like to present, or if you know someone who should, at organizers@A2NewTech.org. And like I said, we'll be back in this room. Again, a reminder about the Slack. Go to madeina2.com/Slack to sign up for our Slack channel or our Slack team. And then check in madeina2.com if you haven't before. It's a directory of Ann Arbor startups. It's a great way to learn about other people that are in the community that you may not know of yet. So that wraps up the meetup for the evening. Join us over at Dominic's, which is right down the street here on the right. It is 21 plus, so make sure to bring an ID if you're coming. And so hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks everybody.